Hey, I'm Sarah. Welcome to my channel, where I take sociological research, break it down, and connect it to everyday life. Accessible and grounded ideas that help us see the world a little bit clearer. When you hear insecure work, what do you think? Probably gig jobs like Uber or DoorDash, right? Jobs where you don't know how much you'll make or even where you'll work. Well, sociologist Kathleen Griesbach says the problem is way bigger than gig jobs. She did a study in 2025 that showed how instability in schedules and workplaces shape not just paychecks, but the stories we tell about ourselves and our futures. So how did she figure this out? She sat down with 120 workers across 4 groups: Texas farm workers, Texas oil field workers, New York City adjunct professors, and New York City delivery workers. And when Griesbach looked at everything they were saying, she noticed patterns. She noticed the different ways people tried to make sense of their unstable jobs. These are what she calls positioning stories. Griesbach found that throughout these interviews, workers switched to different positioning stories when talking about particular aspects of their work. So the big idea here is that workers don't just stick to one consistent story. Sometimes the workers said, "I'm hustling, this is self-improvement," or "this is just temporary." Other times, "this is a sacrifice," "this is unfair," or "this is exploitation." She noticed that they moved back and forth throughout these stories because uncertainty makes it impossible to hold on to one clear story. And that constant switching can shape how they see themselves, their futures, and whether they take action. So here are the main stories she found. Sacrifice. Farm workers and oil field workers often said that they were sacrificing so that their family and their children could have a better future. One oil field worker said that missing out on family time was worth it if they could get their 3 kids through college. Working on the self. So the adjunct professors and the delivery workers talked about hustling to make ends meet or to establish careers. Some adjunct professors said that they're piecing together classes across campuses, and delivery drivers said that they were biking all around the city. And this was all framed as resilience. But Griesbach also noticed that when classes got canceled or when the app rates tanked, the stories didn't always hold up. Addiction or riding the wave. So some workers described the chaos like a rush. This I can kind of relate to, having worked in retail. I remember working in chaotic or sometimes toxic workplaces in retail and saying to myself, I thrived in chaos, that I knew how to keep a calm head when things were going off the rails. So I guess that's a positioning story maybe I told myself. One delivery worker said that going on delivery runs felt like a scavenger hunt, which was fun until the money dried up. And oil field workers described riding the wave of the highs and lows of their industry and hoping they'd stay afloat long enough through the bad times to get back to the good times. The heaviness of time. Adjuncts and farm workers talked about years passing with no real progress. One adjunct said that every semester felt like 52 pickups, staying busy but never moving forward. And across all groups, Griesbach also noticed 2 major themes. One of living big, which is where you have a lot of joy and pride in the work that you do. Say, for instance, an oil field worker living big, making a lot of money, and being able to put their kids through college and support their entire family. And getting burned, where they called out unfair working conditions or called out being exploited. Like when adjuncts talked about feeling like they didn't really have any space in the departments that they worked in, even though they might have been teaching many of the classes at the university. Why do these stories matter? Well, they matter because the stories or the narratives we create for ourselves tend to have a domino effect. Sociologist Irving Goffman developed this concept called framing. He argued that how we see any particular situation, the narrative that we create for it, influences how we respond. So the ways that we frame our work and ourselves impact our actions. So it isn't just about bad jobs, it's about how these systems shape our sense of self. And just like us as workers, the way we establish our sense of self often impacts what we choose to do with our lives and any of the daily choices that we make. Thanks for watching till the end. If you liked it, go ahead and like the video. If you want to see more, and I do plan on posting more videos like this, hit the subscribe button and comment. I want to know, what kind of jobs have you had? And what kinds of positioning stories have you told yourself to make sense of these jobs? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear them. Bye.